what a great crowd. I have been here for 2 days, and I've been sitting in the front, and every time I turn around and look at you, you're just absolutely crazy. And my formal background is college teaching, so I'm used to teaching, so what you're going to hear from me is more information as a teacher. But I will say this, when I taught at a university. I was also working on finishing my PhD, and when I was teaching, I knew my audience because they were prepared for my class. With you, I don't know the audience, because you're at so many different levels. Some of you are brand new and you're bouncing off the wall, we can hardly contain you. And then some of you have been in a while, and maybe you're a little frustrated, need some fine tuning, and hopefully you're getting it here. But some of the rest of you, there might be people here that are on their last leg. Maybe they're it's just not working for them, and they came here with their last dime to try to find the answer and make it work. Those people I just want to hug because I want them to stay the course because I know what that's like. But what I want to talk to you about for the next few minutes is the journey. And we have different journeys in this business. One of them is the knowledge journey. That's where you're trying to learn, how do I make the calls? How do I do the follow-up? How do I answer objections? And then we have the applied knowledge, where you're actually applying what you're learning, hopefully at the same time so you save time. Because if you're only on the knowledge journey, which is understandable because our whole life, we were on the knowledge journey where we went to school, we learned, we took a test, we passed, we went to the next class or the next grade, or we graduated and then we got the job. We just learn, and then we hope to earn. In this business, you can't just learn, and hope to earn. You've got to apply what you learn. There's a lot of broke network marketers out there who know how to build it, but they never apply. They never put the action behind it. And so you're on that journey as well, but there's also a side journey, and that's the one I want to talk about. It's the emotional journey. And very few people talk about the emotional journey, but for me, I believe the emotional journey will sabotage you if you don't know what's going on along the way. And you know what I mean, because it looks something like this, if I can look at see where I'm at on these slides. But the emotional journey in the beginning, you know what this is like, you're really excited, right? And then what happens, you're hopeful, this is going to be the answer to get you out of the job you hate. Maybe you're optimistic because you think this could get you out of debt. You're also inspired. You're determined. I've seen some very determined people here. Do you recognize these feelings? Right? You do? You're also maybe convinced. I can relate to this because I was so convinced I knew everyone would see this the way I saw it. I thought anybody who doesn't see this has to be crazy. Little did I know. And then, of course, this is where goals play an important role. You set all those goals. Let me give you a tip. Goals are valuable if they're internalized. Because if you put a picture on the wall or on the refrigerator, or you have that picture of the car, the house, or what you want, if you don't internalize it, it's just as easy to take it down as it was to put it up. But if you start feeling, how am I going to feel when I'm driving that car? How am I going to feel when I'm living in that house? How am I going to feel when I have no debt? That's the key. And goals are going to serve you as we go on this journey. So let me tell you this, when you write them down, it makes all the difference. So not only pasting the pictures, someday I'm going to do a training on goals because I have some pretty amazing things that have happened to me because I was constantly looking at those goals. Anyway, then you start on your journey and you decide, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to go for this business. And then the first feeling you have there, emotion, is you're excited. It happened to me. The first person I sponsored, the first person I showed got in the business. The second person I showed the business to got in the business. I went to events like this. I was so excited. And then someone said no to me. And then I felt something called disappointed. But then the next person said yes, and I was excited. Then my sponsor quit, and I was disappointed. All right? And I went up this roller coaster. It's like an emotional roller coaster. And I'm going to tell you, it will kill you. You know, there were times when I thought I'm just going to explode with all these emotions going up and down. I could turn a 3-second disappointment into 3 weeks, where I wouldn't turn around and pick up the phone again for another 3 weeks. And then, of course, frustration enters. How does frustration enter? Because one of the people you were excited about, you find out is doing nothing. Has that ever happened? So, you know, what happens with these things, if you stay here, you're going up and down. You know, I want you to understand something. You know, one of the keys that I did to protect myself from this was emotional leveling. But also, I want you to know, no matter what you think, there are some people who are never, they're not going to join you. And you know, how you decide to deal with this fact is the single most important thing that will determine your success in network marketing. What I dealt with it, how I dealt with it, is emotional detachment. So I would put on this suit of invisible armor that nose couldn't penetrate, arrows couldn't penetrate, bullets couldn't penetrate. I was invincible. But at the same time, I became emotionally detached. What do I mean by that? Emotionally detached from the answer. I don't care if they say yes or no, I don't feel anything. So I'm emotionally detached from the results. Because I learned early on from my own experience that success is in the show. Success is not in the sell. Success is not in the sign. Success is in the show. How many times have you had somebody sign up and do nothing? All right? So you can't worry about those things. You only count how many times you show. And it doesn't matter if they say yes or no. Because a yes or no doesn't mean success. They're all equal. You know, you're going to find out that the only difference between the people up here on the stage is that they've heard more no's than you. That's the only difference. That's why we applaud them, because we know the courage they went through to sustain their momentum through all those disappointments. But as you go on this journey, if you're not paying attention, sometimes you get distracted. Why? Because life interferes. When I was teaching at a university, I was teaching a full schedule. I was going to classes at night for my doctorate degree. And then the university asked me if I would coach their varsity track and field team. Now, track and field is like 11 events in one. So it is a full-time job. I was doing that on weekends then. I was having a meet. In the wintertime, I was going to AAU meets. They were indoor track meets. I had no time. And you know, I was distracted. And if you're distracted long enough, you know what happens? You become inconsistent. When you're inconsistent, that's the road to nowhere. It's sporadic activity. Get you nowhere. If you do that long enough, you know what happens? You end up in something called indifference. Indifference is the last step before you give up. So if any of you recognize any of these stages, you need to start to reverse the process. Because I let myself go through all of that until finally I come to something called a point of decision. This is a point of decision is where you finally come to a point where you're ready to give up, or you've got to change something to go on. I don't know if anyone is in here is in that. I'm sure there are people at that point. But for me, it happened. It was a combination of things. And I'm going to tell you, that was the best thing that ever happened to me, that point of decision. Because I was trying to reach a goal, and even though I was fired up, my team went to sleep. Has anybody ever had that? Trying to reach a rank, and your team's like... And I can remember my upline said to me, which was my 5th upline, because 2 uplines above me both quit. And he said to me, Paula, if your group doesn't excite you, you've got the wrong group. And I've been in it 15 months, and I thought, my gosh, in 15 months I got the wrong group. I don't have the time to spend another 15 months. How will I know that that's not the wrong group too? And so I thought, that was the stupidest piece of advice I ever heard. And then he said to me, and then I thought, well, what does he mean excite me? My group doesn't excite me. I excite my group. But my group was like, have you ever blown up a balloon and then let it go without tying it? That was my group. I get them all pumped up, and the minute I left, they were shh. So I thought, I have this group that I can't stand. I have this group that demotivates me. I'm dragging this, it's like I'm climbing this hill, I'm pushing this wagon up the hill, and they're all sitting in it. Nobody's helping me. So when I finally got to that point, and I went to a staff meeting, not at the same time that I was disappointed with my team, I went to a staff meeting, and one of my colleagues had just finished their PhD, and they announced the income level promotion that person would receive by getting their PhD. I have to tell you, that was a very depressing day. So I can remember going home and thinking, oh my gosh, I am on the wrong path. I am on the path that's leading me to financial nowhere. So I had to make a decision. My first decision was to quit. So I was sitting in front of a donut shop. It was called Dunkin' Donuts. Americans know Dunkin'. Do you know Dunkin' Donuts? Do they have those here? I don't know what it is, but when I'm depressed, chocolate is the only solution. And so I was in front of Dunkin' Donuts, and I was contemplating quitting, and I looked in my rearview mirror and I thought, could I ever look at myself again if I quit? Finally, I decided I wasn't going to quit, but I was going to do things differently. I was going to fight for it. I was going to be different. When I talked to people, I was going to tell them that I'm going to the top. I want you to go with me. I think we'd be great together, but either way, I'm still going. So they knew. And that attitude change made all the difference because people wanted to sign up with me. I was changing inside. I decided I was going to be consistent. I was going to make so many calls a day no matter what. I don't care if it was raining. I don't care if it was snowing. I don't care if I had the flu. I still made the calls. Most importantly, I made the calls even when no one was watching. Because that's when we tend to slack off. But anyway, one of the mottos was for me is if it is to be, it's up to me. I'm going to go to the top of this mountain or I'm going to be dead on the side, but I'm not turning back. I have crossed the line. I have stepped off the curb. I've put both feet on the ice, and I'm going to skate. I don't care how many times I fall, but I'm going to get there. I'm going to get to the top of that mountain. The other thing I did, and this is a tip for you, is I focused on what I could control. What I could control. Do you know what you actually control in network marketing? You only control how many people you talk to. That's it. You only control how many people you talk to. You have no control over who says, yes, I want to see your business. You have no control who gets in the business. And you have no control over who gets in and does something. Do you know how much time you spend worrying about all those things that you don't control? Only thing you control is how many people you talk to. So I want to give you an example of what a difference you can make. I was sitting one time in my first business when I was going nowhere in the back of the room, and our audience was almost as big as this. And I was so frustrated because I knew I wasn't probably going to be one of these people that were successful. And all of a sudden I thought about the statistics course I had, and I thought about these numbers. And I started playing with the numbers because the universe, there's a law of numbers in the universe, law of averages. So many people say yes, so many people say no. You have no control over that. So many people say I want to see your business, so many people say I don't want to see your business. You have no control over that. So once I figured out what my ratios were, I knew that if I talked to enough people, I could change the course of my business. Because the ratios mean that if I talk to enough, I'd have enough get in, and out of those get in, I'd have enough that were losers that I'd still have enough that were winners. And so, you've seen this geometric growth model. You've seen, this is a hypothetical model. This is a perfect model, and this business is by no means perfect. Let's say you sponsor 5 people. Okay, if those 5 sponsor 5, you'd have 25 on the second level. If those 5 sponsored 5, you'd have 125 on the third, 625 on the fourth, 3,125 on the fifth, 15,625 on the sixth. Now understand, this is perfect. Our business isn't perfect. You'll have some people that sponsor 5 and you'll have some people that sponsor no one. And then you'll have somebody that sponsors 10. So it's kind of goofy how it goes. But you probably can't translate goofy, right? So anyway, what you have here is a perfect model, which means you have 19,500, almost 20,000 people in your business. Now, let's be really realistic. Let's say that 90% do nothing. 90%. That only 10% actually engage in the business. That still means you have a business of almost 2,000 people. That's with a 90% fail rate. 90%. So let's talk about that. Let's say everybody does 5, but you do 20. You're the only difference because there is power in you. You sponsor 20, everybody else only sponsors 5. Let's look at those numbers. And that's the difference you made all by yourself. If 90% quit, 90% failure, you still got over 7,800 people in your business. One more time. Only you sponsor more. Only you. Everybody else does 5. You know, when we built a business, our first business in Europe, we built a business of over 200,000 people. And that was with my business partner, Kathy. We looked at it, I thought, I don't even know any of these people. I might have known the people on the first level and the second level, but from then I didn't really know any. And so it's something that you don't have to understand it, just believe it. If you have faith in these numbers, it'll come to pass. The only thing you control will be the very top one. But you know, when I got to my destination, I can remember thinking, and I bet there's everyone who's been successful in network marketing will tell you, when you reach the destination, you go, oh my gosh, why did it take so long? You know, why did I let those dream stealers get me off track? Why did I let my emotions get in the way? My gosh, I could have been here a year ago. I had no idea how simple the journey would be if I just kept at it. So, let me give you a couple other tips. Events are your oxygen. They fill you up. It's important to be at the events. The other thing is momentum is your friend. Understand when you're with a company that's in momentum, that means for every day you spend, it's like a week in a business that's not in momentum. If you're in a new country, it could be like 30 days. For every week, it could be like 60 to 90 days. And then last of all, be all in. Be all in. You know, don't base your goals on somebody doing this or so-and-so doing that. Base it on something burning inside of you. It doesn't even have to make sense. It's not important if other people think you can do it. You know, if the dream's big enough, the goals, if the dream's big enough, the facts don't count. So I want to encourage you, when I sat in front of that donut shop, you know, I had been to every training, I knew everything. I was knowledge journey prepared. But what I learned was that the key to my success was within me. And I never thought to look there. Thank you very much.
Now, welcome to the stage, world famous